Hello, and welcome to the Toledo According to podcast. I'm Riley Reynolds, assignment editor of Toledo City Paper, and I will be interviewing some of Toledo's most influential and impactful residents as they walk us through what Toledo means to them. Every episode will feature a new guest talking about their favorite Toledo attractions, businesses, restaurants, and experiences, with the hope of our audience learning more about the guest and finding more gems of Toledo. This episode, I am joined by Ambrea Mikolajczyk, who, with her husband, created ARK Restoration and Construction, an innovative management group to realize the future while preserving culture by purchasing buildings around the city in need of rehabilitation and revitalizing them. Ambrea believes in the preservation of Toledo, particularly because she is a born and raised Toledoan. She and her husband, Kevin, believe in seeing the beauty where others may not. Together, ARK has renovated an 8-unit building in the Old West End on Collingwood Boulevard, the old Wonder Bread factory on Summit Street, and more. Ambrea is deeply rooted in family, with the letters in ARK standing for the letters of Ambrea, Kevin, and their children's names. Her love of Toledo is apparent in everything she does, from restoration projects to simply going to local restaurants with her loved ones. So, I'm here with Ambrea Mikolajczyk. Please tell me your name, your occupation, how many years you've been in Toledo, and a little bit about you.
For sure. Thanks for having me, Riley. I'm so excited to share a bit of my story with you today. Well, as you mentioned, my name is Ambrea Mikolajczyk. I am a native Toledoan. Born and raised here my entire life. I grew up West Toledo, graduated from Start High School, went on to the University of Toledo where I played volleyball, and I'm just immersed in the community because I love this place.
Amazing. So tell me a little bit about you and your story of how you kind of started ARK and how you got involved in the community and different things like that. I know a lot of us are familiar with ARK, but for any of the listeners who are not familiar with it, give a little bit of context behind that.
For sure. So my husband and I started ARK Restoration and Construction back in 2017, actually shortly after I resigned from my career as a pharmaceutical sales manager. And we started the company because we recognized there was a need in the community to take old historic buildings, kind of had been forgotten about, kind of lost, if you will, in very important neighborhoods and renovate them. We had a team already in place from our real estate investing journey and thought, you know what, we had garnered a number of different skill sets and expertise and knowledge in the field of real estate. And so we decided to do this thing. And so we're actually a full service real estate firm, and we do all things real estate from the beginning to the end. And so sometimes we have ownership stake in the properties that we renovate, and so there's an ownership part. There's also a development part. There's also a construction part of what we do and property management part. And so we're all 4 kind of branches of real estate, if you will, that we're able to make properties whole again in our hometown of Toledo, Ohio, with our fantastic team of professionals. So it's a crazy job. It's fun as all get out, really big reward. And so you're going through it and it's the hardest thing you ever did and you're upset and you're like, I'm never doing this again. And then when you're done and it was successful and people love the new space that you created, you can't help but to continue to do it over and over again.
Absolutely. That's a lot of moving pieces to juggle. It's very impressive that you are able to do that. I'm curious, because you are a native Toledoan, I feel that Toledo According to will be a lot more fun coming from you since you've been here for so long. So first, my question is, what is the place in Toledo that you are most proud of that you have not worked on? Just a place in Toledo that you love.
Oh my gosh, there's so many places. It can't just be one. So I'll start with, I've got a lot of friends in Toledo who are entrepreneurs and on kind of these uncharted waters, if you will, just navigating and making our way. And so definitely a big kudos to Toll House. I love what my friends have created down there, and I love to go there and hang out with my friends and meet new people and have great food and great drinks. It's just a great place. But then I also am a foodie. So when I was younger, my grandfather called me table because he said I was the first one at the table every time the food was ready. And so I still have cousins who call me table, all the things. So I love food and restaurants, and so I have to give a shout out to Kango. You can find me there frequently throughout the week, even with my children. We love it. It's just a great place to eat. And then as well as Souk. I love their brunch on Saturday. The best morning is to go to farmers market, shop around, and then end at brunch at Souk. And I don't know, you can't just choose one place. I love taking my kids to Toledo Zoo, the Art Museum, Imagination Station, just a Mud Hens game. We're season pass holders. I will say, if we're going off new places, what the Metro Parks have created at the Glass City Metro Park is just unmatched. We travel quite a bit, and to see that space is unlike anything I've ever seen before. Yeah. And it's a place that all colors, all ages, all different walks of life. You go there and it's just this beautiful rainbow of people having a great time. And so I guess truly if there was one place, it would be that Glass City Metro Park. It's just so fantastic.
It is incredible. And there is a question I was going to ask about which Metro Park is your favorite, but I'm assuming that that's your answer.
Yes, I love that park. And then I also love Middle Grounds. So we don't live too far from Middle Grounds. Before there was a Glass City Metro Park, we'd go to Middle Grounds all the time, and we still do. We take walks there, we play with the kids there. My son recently went to his first homecoming. We took pictures there. So Middle Grounds will always have a special place in our heart too.
Absolutely. And I know you talked about Kango and Souk and some of the other places that you love, but I'm curious what the best meal that you've had in Toledo is and where it was from.
You have hard questions.
I like to start off with some of the hard balls.
One. Best meal. Listen, I would have to go back to Kango. Right? I've never had anything like it. And again, we go there frequently. But definitely one of the best meals I've had. But I'm difficult to accept because I like all foods from all the places. But if really I had to choose one, it'd be Kango.
I completely agree. I absolutely love Kango and Kato and Shobu, and they're incredible, absolutely incredible. I'm curious what your favorite annual festival is locally.
Jeep Fest.
Yes,
Jeep
absolutely.
Fest. We live downtown Toledo, work downtown Toledo, and it's so cool to see all those Jeeps just drive by our place, lined up, all different colors and variations and specializations on them. And of course my kids love it because they see all those Jeeps and then they throw out ducks. So I've got a collection of ducks at home right now that all got thrown out from Jeep Fest at us. A bunch of candy they get, but just to see all the different license plates from all these different cities and countries and states, it's just an unbelievable sight, and that's unique to Toledo.
Absolutely.
Only. And it's just, I don't know, an awesome way to be proud of your city and what we create and how we band together and we build beautiful things. I go to a number of different cities and countries, and Jeeps are everywhere, and they're from Toledo, Ohio.
Right.
So it's just a special thing. A lot of people don't know
about the history. It's very interesting to learn about. I'm curious if you have a specific favorite annual event in Toledo, or just something that doesn't necessarily qualify as a festival, but just an event that happens here.
We love the Art Loop.
Yes.
It's something that we always make sure in the summer that we're doing with our kids. They just have a good time with the bubbles and all the different things to see and arts and crafts. And then I actually also love the event at this museum, the Toledo Museum of Art, that they do every year, where they shut down the road. And again, there's vendors and food trucks and other art projects. And so we really enjoy the arts. It's something that we like to do special with our children.
Absolutely. If you were taking a potential new client somewhere, where would you like to take them?
Great question. Potential new client. That's funny. We have some new partners out of Cincinnati, and so they've been coming to Toledo quite frequently. And if I break down the places that we've taken them to, where we're like, you have to see this. When they were here last time, we took them to the Glass City Metro Park, and they were blown away. We've taken them to Kango. We've taken them to Dirty Bird. We've taken them to the Chop House. We've got so many cool offerings in Toledo, and so there's no shortage of places to take new people.
Okay, so I'm sure this list is going to overlap a little bit, but if your friends from out of town were coming to Toledo, where are some of the places that you would count as must-sees for them?
Oh yeah, gosh, all the places that we frequent. Right, so I'm always saying the Toledo Zoo for people who like to gamble, obviously Hollywood Casino. For foodies, we're going to Kango, we're going to Souk, we're going to Fallen Fodder. I even like to take people to Toledo Spirits. Great cocktails. They have an amazing beef sandwich that everyone should try. Just some of the places that I've already said that we like to go to.
Absolutely. And is there any businesses that Toledo needs but doesn't have that you think it should have?
It's funny because, again, I go a lot of places and it just seems like as much progress as Toledo made, we still have a long way to go, which is kind of, it's exciting because you can be a part of having a long-lasting impact. Right. That's also what makes Toledo so charming, is that you can have an idea and you can bring it to life here. So I would say a number of different things. One of the things that I do feel like holds us back sometimes is people think that you can only have one of something, or that person is already doing it, so you shouldn't do that either. And I would love to see the city get past that, because if you go to larger cities, there's more than just one person or one group or one organization doing the work. They might have a different spin, a different flair, a different perspective that makes it just a tad bit better and have a different, not necessarily better, but just different. But it doesn't mean that the community doesn't need it just the same. Right. So I'd like to see a whole lot of everything amped up, elevated. For sure. Because if we are doing a better job of encouraging business and encouraging entrepreneurship and encouraging, other manufacturing companies to come, then that hopefully means that our city is growing and our population is going up instead of going down, and that we will need more goods and services to support the people. And so I just think, I know that's kind of a broad answer, but I would like to see a whole heck of a lot of more of everything that we've got going on.
Definitely. So obviously, outside of ARK, there's a lot of great architecture that exists within Toledo, and I'm curious what your favorite piece of architecture is, or favorite building or staple of Toledo.
Well, we're currently in the process doing a lot of paperwork on the Spitzer Arcade and the Nicholas Building. Those are the biggest projects we've ever worked on to date. We have a group out of Cincinnati called Model Group that we're working to bring those projects to life on. And if I'd say there's one, because you make me choose one, certainly the Spitzer Arcade. It's got a lot of beautiful architectural details that you do not see in buildings a lot anymore. That's why I'm so passionate about restoration work, because you couldn't afford to build today like they did yesterday. Right. And so it's important to preserve that architectural history, because there will be nothing else like it. We can't produce it anymore. But that building is just so aesthetically beautiful, and I'm super excited to be able to preserve it in that way.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's awesome. I'm curious where in Toledo you find you're at your most calm, or is the most peaceful spot for you?
Definitely at home. We renovated a former tobacco factory, and we were able to, just based on the way it's positioned, to have a second floor deck it's pretty large, but it sits right on the Maumee River that comes down to Swan Creek. So we're kind of on a Swan Creek and Maumee, and we just sit on that deck, and it's so peaceful, and it's like nature puts on a show. Yeah. And there are blue cranes, and there are birds of every species, and I've got bird feeders and hummingbird feeders, and downstairs we've got like bird feeders, and so we're getting all this wildlife. And at 8:39, the bats all come out, and they're swooping down low and flying, and then again with the birds and animals, and it's just, and the trees are huge, and the leaves are just like whistling in the wind. And if Mud Hen's got a game, you hear the hustle and bustle, and then they do fireworks, and then the fireworks sprout out, and so it's just so peaceful to sit down on that deck and relax and just listen and just reflect and take it all in. And so in those moments, there's definitely no other place I'd rather be than on that deck downtown Toledo.
No, that sounds so beautiful, and I love being able to just take in all the lovely sights of nature that we have here, because I think with all of the buildings and cool architecture that we have, sometimes we kind of forget about all of the amazing nature aspects in Toledo as well. So I'm curious also, what is the street that you drive on or walk on most often?
Definitely Summit Street. I'm up and down Summit Street, gosh, probably 10 times a day, just because it's kind of where we live and where we work. And so really the main artery of our downtown Toledo, it's Summit Street for sure. Summit and then Monroe Street to get to the rest of Toledo.
Yeah.
But those are it.
Awesome. And what is the best time that you ever had in Toledo? What were you doing and where was it held?
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I know that's a hard question.
I'd say I'll go back to childhood. Of course, we're creating a lot of memories for our children today, which are recent. But when I think about my childhood, some of the best times were at Maumee Bay Park.
Yes.
So my parents, we'd get picnic and all their friends and other little kids, and we'd pick a spot in the shade. And I remember just running up that tall hill and like going down the hill and getting in the water and having this amazing picnic and just remembering pure joy and happiness and not a care in the world. But those times, and we've been a few times with the kids trying to kind of recreate it, but it's just, I remember as a child just how cool that was and not believing that it was in Toledo.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's not technically in Toledo, right? But just a few minutes outside of town that you have access to that.
Absolutely. I had the same experience in childhood. The first time I went there, I couldn't believe that we had a beach right in Toledo. It's incredible.
Why you guys didn't tell me?
I know.
This is life.
It's definitely a hidden gem for those who have not been.
Yes.
Is there anything in Toledo that you've always meant to do that you have not yet done? I know that's probably hard since you've lived here for so long, but if there's anything that you have not yet experienced or a place you haven't been to yet in Toledo, you can share that with us.
So, not that I haven't been to this place, but there's a new exhibit at the Toledo Art Museum that I am dying to run out to. I can't remember the artist's name, but I just need to get there as soon as possible. But other than that, not really. I am immersed in the community and in Toledo. And if there's something new business, things that come out in the paper, in your paper, I'm very quick to go check it out.
Absolutely.
And partake. In fact, the Metro Parks just finished one of their largest tree houses to rent, and it sleeps 6, which I have 6 in my family. And so we rented that out like one of the first weekends it was available, and we stayed, and it was just a great time. And so there's not a lot that I haven't done within the city, but yeah, I've got to go check out the new exhibit.
Yeah. No, the tree houses are an incredible attraction locally. I think they're so brilliant because it's just having like a little camp out, but you don't have to go too far from home. It's very nice.
Yes.
If you could change anything about Toledo, what would you change?
Okay, so I love the city, but it can be a lot bureaucratic and red tape-ish, right? I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm throwing it out there. There's just a number of things that I feel like can be handled more efficiently and effectively, but unfortunately there ends up being a lot of steps and a lot of hoops to jump through, which can make it difficult sometimes. Right. And so I would like to see kind of those barriers to helping people be successful removed.
Absolutely, for sure. So this next one is a fill in the blank. So the prompt is, if I knew I could get away with it, I would blank. This one might be telling on yourself a little bit, but...
If I didn't have to have my children in school, which I know education is very important and I care about education very strongly, but I would love if I can just take them for a year and kind of slow down time, if you will, and just be together on, I don't know, some sort of sabbatical or an opportunity for us to go explore other countries. And I could do that with no consequence. I would love to do that. Obviously, it's difficult because people have friends and social lives, and they do have school obligations and spots in school that have been held for them that may not necessarily be there when we got back. And so, if I could totally figure out a way to, keep their education going, but just kind of pull them back for a year and hold them close and really create memories in a meaningful, big way, I would love to do that.
I love that. What a beautiful answer. I'm curious, from your opinion, what the best view of downtown Toledo is. From what building in downtown Toledo can you see the best view of the city?
I believe Glass City Metro Park, when you're on that second level and you're looking out and you can see the Garfield East Side neighborhood, you see Central Business District, you see Vistula, you see Warehouse District, you see a lot of our city from that perspective, and it's pretty dang special.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you are away from Toledo, what can't you wait to get when you get back? It could be, a local store, some food, an experience. But what is the thing that when you go out of town, you think to yourself, I'm so excited to get back to Toledo so I can do this or eat this or find this?
Netties.
Netties?
Netties. I need a chili dog from
Yes.
Netties, and I need a cherry Netty freeze.
Oh,
and life
delicious.
is great. If it's not Netties, definitely Geno's, right? You'll go to other places and you're like craving pizza, like, oh, when I get home, I'm going to Geno's. In fact, a number of friends that I have and family that I have, those are the two places too. Like when they come back home, they have to have a Geno's pizza and they need to go to Netties at some point.
Absolutely. Both are excellent options, I think. So, what is a Toledo nonprofit organization that you admire and why?
Well, that's pretty easy. I love Lisa McDuffie and the work she does at the YWCA.
Yes.
I feel like it is a way in which, as a community, we should come together and help women in need. And there's really no other organization like that. I feel like doing the hard work to lift women up when they're down and when they need the most help.
Absolutely.
And at the YWCA, they really do that, not only just with women, but really their mission to eliminate racism is incredibly important as well. And so YWCA.
Yeah, they are an incredible organization for sure. So, switching gears a little, if you are going to have a fun night out in Toledo, where are you going? And then for brunch the next day, where are you going for that?
Okay, fun night. I don't typically do chains, but Cooper's Hawk has really grown on me. I'm a wine club member, and so one of my favorite things to do is meet up with a girlfriend who I haven't seen in a while, and we'll do a wine tasting there, and then we'll go have dinner, and we're there for 3 hours. Right, just like having wine and cracking up laughing and having a good time and reconnecting. It is pretty cool. And so what's great about that, every month you have these wine tastings, and so it's a way for me to make sure I'm staying connected with my girlfriends, even though I'm living this busy life. And so it's something that I really look forward to. And brunch, I'm definitely going to Souk on a Saturday morning. I'm going to Souk.
Absolutely. So I'm curious, and this might be a tough question to answer because I know you're passionate about all of them, but is there a specific ARK project that is finished that you are the most proud of?
Well, gosh, where we are today, we're at the Wonder Bread Factory, which it was the largest project that Kevin and I had ever done. We were very ambitious. Like, who buys a factory?
Right.
Who does that, right? And so we bought it in 2017. We had this really ambitious goal to convert it and make apartments, and it took us 4 years to figure it out, but we did it. And it was the hardest work of our lives, but it is now home to 33 residents. It is lively, it is beautiful, people love living here. Everyone has a unique story about what brought them here, and hopefully they can feel everything we poured into this, the love, the blood, sweat, and tears, the long evenings, the long weekends. I mean, I remember being here with our 4 children, like, okay, grab a brush, grab a mop, like, right? Like doing everything we can to pull this through. But what a great investment in the community, where the community really lacked an investment. And so from what we were able to accomplish, more things just continue to happen and come to life in this area, which is pretty cool.
And I think it's very clear when you walk into the building, you can feel how much love and dedication and time was poured into it. It's incredible, truly, the work you do.
Thank you.
So if Toledo had a new motto, what would it be?
So you see, you will do better in Toledo. We are doing better in Toledo.
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
Like, can it? Yes, it can always be better, but currently we have a great life here, right? Cost of living, traffic, little to no traffic when you compare to the major cities. You can live in a great space and not be home poor. And you can I think most importantly, you can have a passion and live it out and have impact.
Yes.
Right here in Toledo. Versus, if you went to a larger city, you might not be able to feel that impact. Heck, they might not even let you in the room because it's just that much larger. And so it's difficult to really make your mark. But I think here you can really make your mark and you can have impact and you can be passionate about something and pull it through and see the fruits of your labor. And that's, we are doing better.
Definitely. That's something that we at the City Paper love about the community as well, is being able to see the impact of different organizations and, from conception to the finish of it. And it's so incredible here. What are the most underrated and overrated things about Toledo, in your opinion?
It's funny because when people come to Toledo that aren't from the area, they are like pleasantly surprised. Right? And it grows on them and then they stay.
Yes.
They plan on being here, 1-2 years, and it's a stop on their journey. But for the most part, people end up liking it a lot and staying for all the reasons that I mentioned earlier, right? The cost of living, you can have great quality of life, little to no traffic. There's just so many advantages to living here. I think that we are 100% underrated. They just think, that random city in Ohio. And so we're underrated from that perspective. I don't know if we're really overrated on anything, to be honest.
How about this? Are there any local events, businesses, things like that get so much hype that sometimes it's overblown?
I don't think so, but I'm an excitable person. It doesn't take very much, right? Like, I'm positive and bubbly, so it doesn't take very much for me. But no, I think I can have a good time anywhere.
I agree. I'm the same way, for sure. So where do you go to find inspiration, be it for ARK projects or just in your life, in your personal life? Where is your spot to find inspiration?
Actually, two things. I take breaks. So Kevin and I will do a day trip or a quick weekend trip, or if nothing's scheduled on a random Wednesday, we might just take that day to go to the museum or take that day to go to the zoo. But we take breaks and we get so inspired because during that time we're not working. We're able to be creative. We're able to think. We're able to listen, and great things come out of that. So the mini trips, and then we do travel quite a bit. Maybe like every other month we go someplace new that we've never been before. In fact, in September I'm going to Seattle. I love Beyonce. I saw her in Detroit. She's going to be in Seattle. That's a city I've never been to. I know I have some developer friends out there. I'm going to connect with my real estate developer friends, go to a Beyonce concert, go to historic places in Seattle. And I bet we're going to come back with so many ideas on what we learned or saw that we can bring uniquely to our projects in our city. And so we're constantly drawing on other places for inspiration.
I feel like that Seattle trip is a good testament to who you and your husband both are as people, which is productive and fun.
Yes. At the same time,
I think it's a great combination.
We can do both.
Yes.
So many people think, how are you guys doing that? I'm going to get my life together. No, you just do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like I do not subscribe to, I'm just going to wait. Life is so short. If COVID taught me anything, it was, snap. Right. At a heartbeat, all this can change. And so while we're working really crazy hours and you're going all this, and I get having goals, and sometimes you have to grind harder in a particular season than others, but I also believe it's just as equally important to carve that time out on purpose and intentionally to bake in some fun.
Definitely. And is there a specific Toledoan that you most admire?
I would have to say Paula Hicks Hudson. I love PHH. She is such an inspiration. To be the first Black woman mayor, I'm sure was not an easy thing, and I'm sure it's continue to not be easy for her. I think when you're the first to do anything, it's definitely going to be difficult, but she did it and she's still doing it, and she is a constant source of inspiration for me.
Absolutely. She is such an inspiration for sure. And my last question for you is, what is your dream vision for Toledo?
Oh, that we are a community that embraces all. That we are a community that embraces entrepreneurship. We are a community that embraces factory jobs. We are a community that embraces people who may not look like us. That we are more inclusive, that we are more equitable. But the only way things like that are going to happen is if you again, on purpose, put things in play to ensure that you are being equitable and you aren't leaving people behind through initiatives, projects, funding sources, that everyone freaking matters in this ecosystem, and it's our responsibility to make sure that we are looking out for everyone. And so that will be my goal. I mean, I come up against a lot of scrutiny and issues all the time, and I got tattooed on me legacy because that's really what it's about. And so even though it might be hard, or I might be having this particular problem or struggle or issue, it's important for me to get over it because I'm doing it for the generations to come next.
Yes.
Right? And so it's my duty to still persevere and get over it and keep going and going and going, because I've got to make it better for the next generations. And so that's my hope for Toledo, that we are inclusive, and not just from a race perspective, but even from an economic perspective,
right,
that we care about factory jobs and we care about breeding a community in which we support entrepreneurs as well.
Definitely. That was beautifully said. That's a great vision for Toledo, and I agree. I hope we can achieve that, and I think people like you are working to achieve that vision, so I applaud you and thank you. If there's anything else that you want to talk about, or any other bits about Toledo that you would like to promote, I would love to give you the opportunity to do so.
For sure. So I am on the Toledo Warehouse District Association board, and every year we have our biggest fundraiser called Wonder the Warehouse. And so it's coming up. I'm chairing the event this year. We have 7 amazing warehouses on tour. You will not be disappointed. Tickets are $15. You can go to wonderthewarehouse.org. Purchase your ticket, come support. The event is Sunday, September 10th from 12 to 4. Also, please follow me and Kevin in our journey. You can follow us on Instagram as well as Facebook at ARK Restoration. It's very easy to find us. And you can also follow me too under my name, Ambrea Mikolajczyk. But just to stay abreast on the things that we have upcoming, the projects that we're working on. And then lastly, we are working to renovate the historic buildings of the Spitzer Arcade and Nicholas Building. Those are some of the last skyscrapers left in our city's downtown that need to really be invested in. And so it's going to be a massive project, a big undertaking, a big dollar amount. It's a $200 million project. It's going to take us about 4 to 5 years to figure it out. But when it's all said and done, hopefully to be residents, we'll have about 350 to 400 apartments, and then we'll also have about 50,000 square foot of commercial spaces. And so soon it will be home to a lot of people and a lot of new businesses. And so follow our journey to renovate those beautiful structures.
That's incredible. Well, thank you so much for your time, Ambrea. I've loved talking with you, and I am so excited for everyone to hear your story and hear how you see Toledo and what you think makes Toledo so wonderful.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Riley.
Ambrea's story is truly an inspiring one, and her connection to Toledo always shines through. Thank you for listening to the Toledo According to podcast. Make sure to check out Toledo City Paper in print and online, as well as all of the publications under Adams Street Publishing, including Mature Living, Toledo Area Parent, Ann Arbor Family, Current, and Findlay Living. Find us on social media or connect with us if you have any story ideas to share.